like Ray did. He's asking Councilmember Evans to please weigh in on what it will take for you to support the DC United Stadium project. Please go into as much detail as possible, just as your fellow council member, Mr. Graham, did last month in an op-ed in The Blade. In particular, how do you view the issue of the future use of the Reeves Center site? Councilmember Evans.
As you know, I'm a big supporter of a new stadium for the soccer team, the DC United. We are waiting the mayor's proposal, but the broad outlines I do support, where the stadium is being constructed and how we go about it. The Reeves Center is going to, as I explained to Alan Liu, the Reeves Center land swap is going to be a controversial approach because you have to evaluate it, how it gets swapped, and all the details. A better way I would have thought was if you're going to use the Reeves Center to put it on the market, sell it outright, get the money, and then use that to purchase the land. It's much clearer. People understand that. And so one thing I'll be looking at is how they structure that. And number two, the idea of equity sharing with the team I think is a terrible idea. Sports teams always lose money. I think they have two sets of books, the ones that they really have and then the ones they show the public. So I don't ever believe we would ever get any money out of that. I think what you want is a clear, concise, straightforward deal, like we did on the baseball stadium. Whether you agree with it or not, it was very understandable. This is what we pay, this is the money we need to borrow, and this is how we're going to pay it back. And that's how I would structure the DC United. I would love to get it done as soon as possible. DC United is a great team, and of all the sports soccer franchises, there are only two now that don't have a new stadium, and we are one of them.
Critics say that we overpaid for the baseball stadium. What is the status on paying off the bonds for it, and has it hurt the cities?
No, it hasn't. See, the way it was structured is we had to build the new stadium ourselves. Otherwise Montreal would not have moved here. People just don't understand that. It was very close to going actually to Virginia. But we had the three taxes we put in place, the tax on the utilities, largely federal government, the tax on the businesses, and then the taxes on all the stadium things, the rent and all the things sold at the stadium. So I have said this repeatedly, and I'm absolutely right. If you don't go to the baseball games, you don't pay for the stadium at all. The utility tax is largely on the federal government, the business tax is on businesses, and the other taxes are on people who
I got to ask one last question. For the last, since Tony Williams through Adrian Finty and Mayor Gray, you have been supporting bringing the Washington Redskins,
absolutely,
Washington football team back for it to build its own stadium on city land where R.F.K. is now.
Yes.
What is the status of that, and are you getting pushback? I know some of the people who live on the east part of Capitol Hill are worried that their housing and retail and all the things they want in open space will be pushed out. Can it survive with the people who live up there, and is it still a good idea? And we won't talk about the team's record.
The team's record or name, but the concept of bringing the Redskins back to the city is an excellent idea.
It's a billion-dollar business.
Yes, the way the concept would work is you would tear down R.F.K. Stadium and then build a brand new stadium there. The discussion.
The city or the team?
No, the team would have to pay for the stadium, and it would be a dome stadium, so you could hold a Super Bowl as well as other events. And the beauty of that site is you already have 10,000 surface level parking spaces there. You have a metro stop on site and 3 access roads. And if the stadium's about 75,000 seats, what we're talking about, RFK has about 50. And when the Yankees played the Nationals there, that's our recent experience, you could get people in and out of there very easily. And I think the people on Capitol Hill are always concerned about that, rightly so. But remember, the Nationals played 81 games there. We're talking about 8 football games and then other events that would be there, but nowhere near 81
But what
games.
about getting the shopping and the retail that people in the east end of the city there want? Is that going to ever get there? I mean, they had a plan worked out 15 years ago or more, and nothing's happened.
I think you would get it there much faster if the football stadium were located there, because you're looking at Hill East, which is to the south of where the stadium is. And if you
DC
had
General is and all
exactly,
that, and we need a new jail and all kinds of things.
You'd take that all down, and then if you had, say, 75,000 people coming there on a given Sunday, it's like our Verizon Center experience. When they pour out of the Verizon Center, they don't go home. They go to all the restaurants, shops, and bars and everything around there, and you would have that same experience happening if you had a stadium.
Could there be neighborhood grocery stores and other things?
You would produce all of that. See what's happening around the baseball stadium. Contrary to what the naysayers always say, they come in with these stacks of studies how sports stadiums don't help anybody. Go down to the Verizon Center today and tell me that was not a success, or go down to the baseball stadium. Maybe in other cities it didn't work, but I got to assure you it works here.
And should the team change its name?
It should change its name, but I hate to get involved in tying that to their coming back to the city, and that may very well be a problem. But yes, it should, and I hope someday the National Football League and the owners of the team realize that and come up with a new name for the team.